Hi guys, today I will be showing you how to create a Visual Basic login form using the ADODB connection method attaching to a Access database. Okay, so we want to create a new form. I'm calling it LoginDB, or login form rather, and we're going to add a button, two text boxes, and a label. Two labels, sorry. And we will eventually rename them as text user for the first text box, text pass for the second text box, command login for the button, and we're going to rename the label texts as username and password, just to tell the user, or us even, that that's what these fields are. Okay, so after this we're going to save our database. Now remember your location, because we will be saving, we're going to save our project. Remember the location because our database is going to be put in there. Alright, so I'm just deleting this because I've tried multiple times to get it right. Now let's create our new database. Okay, I will call mine LoginDB. Alright, once we're in, we're going to go into our design view, save our table as user table, and we're going to add two new fields called username and password, both as data type text. Okay, so here we go to our design view, table. Right, now username and password, remember your table name and fields, because we're going to use the actual names in the in the project. Okay, so enter some new records, and we need to save our database as 2002 to 2003, which is our MDB format, just because we don't argue. Okay, now we need to go to our project location. Okay, and it's going to be under your project, bin debug, and save it there. For 64-bit computers, right, we need to go your project name, and then bin x86, and then debug, just because Visual Studio likes to be difficult and builds from two different locations. You'll see why at the end of this video. Okay, so now we're going to add a reference. Okay, so in your Solution Explorer, you need to right click on your project name, find add reference. Now we're going to go into COM tab, find Microsoft ActiveX Data Objects 2.5 library. Just use 2.5. I haven't actually tested it with any of the other versions, so yeah. Now you can read the comments to understand what's going on. I will try keep up with me typing. So we're going to define a login error as a string, so that we can tell the user what their login problem is when they actually try login. Okay. Now after this, we're going to create a public function. We're going to name it login. You can name it anything really, doesn't really matter. And inside this function, we're going to put our actual hard code, and on the button, we're simply going to call this function. Just keeps things neater, lets you access this function in different forms, etc. I won't explain how. Okay, now remember we referenced the Microsoft ActiveX Data Objects library. We're going to define some stuff here. I'm going to define dbcon as ADODB connection, as a new ADODB connection at that. As it says there, this tells Visual Studio where or how to connect to our database using the provider and our database location, etc. Now we need for a login form we need our connection and we need a record set, which is what we pass all our arguments through basically. Not very many arguments in a login form, except this method is not just for login forms. Okay, so this is these two variables are only two theoretically complicated variables with the whole ADODB connection, la la la. Now we're going to define username as string, and we will put our query, or query in quotation marks, into this string so that we can send it to our record set. Now we're going to define userdb as string as well, and this will get set to the field username of our database. And same thing with dim passdb, except for the password field in our database. Okay, and after this we're going to open our connections. It is important that you pay attention to what I am typing, because you cannot miss a single thing, including semicolons in quotes or anything in quotes. For example, our provider when I get to it.